took his knife out and just started cutting himself. Wide open, just fucking cutting himself all over his stomach and shit.
I've heard some other people say that he ripped his ear off. He didn't fucking rip his ear off, but he did fucking split it in half, which is equally impressive.
Yeah. He gasses and hits the fucking cop.
Gets out with the
and he's like, I'll fucking kill you or something like that. And they're driving down the road now. It's like, fuck it. We're in Dothan, Alabama. What better time to shoot your gun out the front window, you know? So he just pulls out, pop, pop.
He jerked off the dog, not to completion.
Anybody knows he earned the name Nasty.
Yeah.
Ooh.
There it is.
I'm Chad Darkwade, National President of the Plug Uglies Wrecking Crew. We're standing in Allan Nasty's museum, one of the co-founders and my best friend. This is the last show we're doing here, unfortunately. We're gonna, the Columbus chapter is gonna try and have another venue before too long, but we wanted to do this documentary so people that didn't have a chance to come check out this place would at least be able to see it on video. So I guess the best way to start would be to tell you how me and Allan met and where our friendship started. I met Allan when he was about 15 years old. He was friends with my brother, and he used to come out. I was in a band at the time called Ashes of October, and he would come out to all of our shows. Like, he became like our street team guy. Anytime we needed to go play in Dothan, Alabama, I'd call Allan up, and he would make 1,000 flyers and hit the streets and just pass them out and promote. He was a huge fan. And that's kind of where our friendship started. It started from there. And later on, as he got older, I think he was close to 17, maybe 18, he started a band called Amethyst. And he had been asking me to come out and check out his band, and he had supported me for so long. So I've never seen him perform, so I decided to make the trip to Dothan and check him out. So I get down there, and his band plays. And afterwards, he comes up to me and says, "Well, what'd you think of my band?" I said, "Your band sucked, but you were awesome." Like, from right there, it planted a seed kind of inside of me, and I wanted to have Allan in a band with me because, like, his stage presence was just something I had never seen before. And that's kind of where it started. So a couple years, maybe about a year and a half goes by, because he's definitely 18 at this point, maybe not close to 19. And I invited him up to come check out the band I'm playing in. I had this idea of what direction I wanted to take. We were always a horror punk fan, so we wanted to kind of take it in that direction, but kind of have our songs more about like real life, like serial killers and just how fucked up the world is and stuff like that. So I invited him up to Columbus, and that was the night my drummer decided to drink like a liter of vodka, Zach D's, and got super drunk. We played like shit. It ended with Zach on the mic singing Cher songs and running everybody off. So I was like, there's no way this kid's gonna come play in my band, because I knew it would require him moving. And at the time, he was seeing this girl that was like probably 8, 9 years older than him. And she was like super controlling, so I didn't know how it was gonna go. So I asked him afterwards, I was like, "Hey man, what do you think about maybe moving up here and playing in this band with us. And he was like, I don't know, let me go talk to my girlfriend. So we're inside the house, like an hour goes by, and he's still out there. So at this point, I'm like, okay, he's not gonna play in our band. Like, she's not gonna let him go. So he eventually comes inside and he's like, well, what do you think about me living with you? And I was like, oh, like you and your girl? He's like, no, just me. I was like, well, what do you mean? He's like, well, she said it was either you or her. So that was kind of how, like, our friendship and the bond first started, man. Allan was the kind of guy that would choose his friends over anything. He was, you know, he loved his mom, he loved his friends, his dad and his brother, and he would do anything for his friends, you know. He was the kind of guy that would, you know, he didn't go out looking for trouble, but if anybody messed with his friends, he would, you know, he would take care of that immediately. And even though he was so much younger than me, like, he really did mold me into a man, if that makes any sense. He was kind of an old soul of sorts, because, I mean, he was much younger, but he just, I mean, he was smart, he was super funny, like, he was always he'd light up any room. He was the kind of guy that I could see, friends I hadn't seen in 10 years that never met him, they come into town, and I'd be really excited to see him, and by the end of the night, I wouldn't even exist. They'd be in a corner hanging out, and he'd be telling jokes, you know, or playing Hank Senior songs. And he was just that kind of dude, man. He was lovable. He reached a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people that only even had encounters with him felt like they were really close friends with him because of his personality. And that's one of the things I miss the most. I miss you know, him joking around, and I miss being able to have that person, you know, that I could go to about anything, and he wouldn't judge me on anything. And he would always give an honest answer. He wasn't the kind of person, you know, even I'm guilty at times. You tell people what they want to hear. You know, Allan was straightforward, and he was a good friend to a lot of us, and a great brother, a great son. And so after he passed away, you know, like, I knew that I wanted to honor him in some way. We all did. So that's kind of where the museum came about. And you know, a lot of works went into this room. I mean, when we got this place, I mean, it was trash. I mean, we spent countless hours. I can't even tell you how many hours we spent, you know, getting it ready. Robert Pilson came in and did the tile floors in here. You know, we had a lot of people pull together to make this happen. And that's the main reason I feel it's really important to do this documentary. So not only people can see the museum, but they can also know about Allan, hear stories about him, because there are so many. Probably ones that I'll probably be hearing for the first time after we watch this.
I think the first time I met Allan was, I guess, about 2009 or 2010 when he was playing in 213, and that was the first time, because he really got me into 213 back in the day. And the first time I saw him was awesome. Like, the first time I saw him, the place that they were playing at, the guy that was putting on the show was like, yeah, we don't want to use any fake blood anymore, blah, 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 can't bring any fake blood. So Allan said, okay, fuck this. I'm going to take he took his knife out and just started cutting himself. Wide open, just fucking cutting himself all over his stomach and shit. And so midway through a song, my old bass player was standing up in front of the stage, and he just goes, whoop, and just, while he's doing vocals, he just slaps the fuck out of him. And I think that was the first time I really, like, ever saw Nasty do anything. Like, it was fucking great.
The first time I saw the first time I can remember 213, I remember that the whole band brought out Allan on like a morgue tray, and he was covered by a white sheet, and they just sat him on top of the stage and started playing the set, and then he just came off of the morgue tray and started doing the set. And then he would ask people to get up on stage, and he would be like, on the count of 3, Allan's gonna make out with you. And so one of our friends got up on stage, and they counted to 3, and he went to go make out with him, and they just like threw him off the stage and kept doing the set. Then once he passed, we left his boots at the clubhouse there.
Yep.
So me and my friend Rustam, who was in the club at the time, we put a PBR, dumped a PBR into the boot, and we were in each boot, and then we chugged the beer out of the boot together, and then dry heave and puke from the stench. And there's another time I remember after he passed, we were all hanging out at the plug house, the old plug house, and we were just hanging out, and this like horrible smell came to like all of our noses, and we were like, who the fuck just shit their pants? And we were all like, I didn't do it, and I didn't do it, and I didn't do it. So we think the ghost of Allan farted. Pretty gross. But yeah, I don't know, there was a lot of, I remember me and Allan sat in the old plug house and watched porn together, and that was real special.
Intimate moment. There was one time, another time, old band of mine, our guitar player, we were at another festival, and X-Ray Vision was playing, and this is before I had gotten in the band, and our guitar player was sitting out in the audience, and Chad was like, all right, Allan, get your ass up here, and then he was like, all right, I'm going to get somebody to come up here, and they're going to make out with Allan, kind of like what Matt was saying, and my guitar player was like pointing to the guy in front of him, and he was like, all right, well, since you're going to be a cock and try to invite somebody else up here, why don't you get your ass up here? So he got up there, and Allan's sitting there on the phone. Allan's like not paying attention to anything. He's just fucking sitting there on the phone talking to somebody. And so Chad was like, all right, on count three, we're going to make out. And my guitar player was like, yeah, all right. And Allan literally goes from this, and then when Chad hits three, he threw his phone down and just went, and just like all in his ear and shit like that. Like, I'm trying to think if I have any other great Allan moments.
He was a gross guy.
Yeah.
He was like crazy. Like, he would have people like slap him in the back with studded belts, just for fun. He would puke and eat the puke. He had again Wolfman or Rastam. He funneled a beer through Rastam's ass crack.
Yep.
Puked, and then finished the beer. Like,
Crazy motherfucker.
Crazy man.
Go. My name is Allan, and I'm gonna play Walk Band here on this ukulele. That's it. That's all you get for free.
Knock on the door, I open the door, and Alan's dick's tucked in between his legs. He's just standing there, he's like what you see? It's my favorite. When we
Went 213.
when I was in 213, we went to golf court, and you, Zach, and Danny, you guys all went to bed, but me and Allan took Art's dad's truck to the fucking casino, and we're sitting there all night, fucking drinking Jack and Cokes for free, wasted. When we come out in the morning, and we're arguing over who's gonna drive home, and the argument turns into a fist fight. Allan kicks the shit out of me, and then he drives home, or drives to Art's house, and runs every fucking red light and stop sign on the way there. Every single one, did not stop at one.
There's another Mississippi story. We all played down there, and it's back at the time we had that old van. It had like the bloody handprints and everything. And Allan, you know, took like stage makeup, and he was all smeared. And he had like a combination of fake blood, real blood, eyeliner, and just random makeup. And we got pulled over. Like, I was in a different car, and the van got pulled over. And I remember the cop going up, Allan, talking about it, how he pointed to him, like, what's going on, like his whole face could have blood and shit. He was like, what's going on with this? And he was like, yeah, I'm in a band. And then he explained, and the only band that he could really, that the cop could understand, like he was trying to think of something to kind of give him an idea of what we're about, was Alice Cooper. He's like, you know, like Alice Cooper. So then they ended up coming to the car and talking to us, and we were all fucking drunk. I mean, he was probably drunk too. Luckily, they didn't give us a sobriety test, and Art's dad at the time was friends with like those cops in the Long Beach, Mississippi area. Mm-hmm. But I remember they came to the car, and I was like wasted, and they were talking to me. I forgot, and I still had like the eat a dick hat on. I was like leaning over out the window trying to talk to this cop and shit. Allan had this 20-inch bicycle, which is a BMX bicycle, but for a lot of people that don't know, it just looks like a grown man riding a kid's bicycle.
So we came back from Mississippi, and Allan still had the makeup on and stuff. And Allan was riding this bicycle down the road, and scattered across the street was these old school like gay porn mags. Like all the guys had like mustaches like Tom Selleck, you know. And at the time, Allan's roommate was this gay dude, and he thought it'd be funny to pick up these magazines, throw it in his book bag, and slide it under his roommate's door. So anyway, it's like probably 3 in the morning, so Allan's riding back, and he gets pulled over. A cop pulls up behind him, turns his lights on, pulls him over. So he goes up to him. Allan's got all this makeup and shit on. Once again, Allan's trying to explain why he had the makeup, and it's not, you know, that it's a combination of real blood and fake blood and all that. He's like, well, before I go, is it cool if I check out your bag? You know, because he had a book bag on, and Allan's like, yeah, why the fuck not? You know, so cop opens up there and pulls out a handful of like gay, old school gay porno mags. And the cop's like, what's all this right here? And Allan's like, it's not fucking legal, is it? He's like, nah, but it should be. I think Headstone Hangover was on tour, which is like another band me and Johnny Boy, Wolfman, and Pepper had that existed at the same time as 213. And we had went to Florida to play. Well, Allan had like $30 and just got on his motorcycle and ended up meeting us down in like Fort Walton Beach. By the time we got to Pensacola for the second night, Allan had drank every dollar away. His motorcycle had 0 gas. So he proceeds to do all this like just nasty shit to get like money from people. Wolfman, who's really hairy for people that don't know. I remember him being out in the parking lot laying on a car and doing body shots out of his belly button, dude. And then it moved to inside where Scars and Stripes, I guess somebody, I think Dustin maybe, had bet him $20 that he wouldn't drink a beer out of the crack of Wolfman's ass.
Allan motherfucking Nasty has agreed to take.
We need lights!
Turn off the lights because you will see all this in all its glory. Check out this ass. Show him the ass. Show him the ass. Come on, show him the ass. Show him. Look at this. Look at this ass right here. This prime motherfucking real estate right here. Look at that. You can start a fucking brush fire.
This is a 21 and up show, right?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Now Allan is going to drink beer off this ass right here for the low price of $20. If y'all want to make a donation, because this is rough around here.
I'm taking tips for gas money home too. Cherry on top. And he's gonna hold a cherry with his butt cheeks. I'm gonna eat that afterwards.
Had a couple sides of Allan that you were going to get when you hung out with him. It was either going to be like, man, you're going to have a good time, you're going to laugh till everybody pees in their pants, or something really dangerous is going to happen. It might put your life at risk. So Bob had one of the life at risk stories, and it pretty much was Bob that had just started prospecting with us, and they went to Dothan. He met up with like Meat Hook, and they all went to a bar, and Allan's drinking, and then Allan's like, hey dude, I'm going to go around and ask all the guys in here what they're call them. I'm going to make up a name, and if they say that's their name, I'm going to just punch them in the face. So this is like Bob's first experience hanging out with Allan. So he goes up, he's like, James. The guy's like, no. He's like, all right. And just walk off. He's like, Mike, you know, or something like that. So they leave there, and then they're driving down the road, and Allan's like, fuck it. We're in Dothan, Alabama. What better time to shoot your gun out the front window, you know? So he just pulls out, pop, pop, pop. You know, Bob's sitting in the... Like I think he's either in the car with him or driving behind him, dude. One thing I used to like too, man, like if we ever went out and heard bands play, and a band he thought was a shitty band, after they finished the song, you know, people clap stuff, he would always do this, yeah, yeah, like that, dude. And I always thought, like anytime that went off, you knew that he thought that band was a joke or whatever, you know. Because you'd hear it like in the back of the bar or something, you know.
You remember getting our van impounded? Fucking.
That was a good story too.
And,
yeah, so we got in the van. That was Black Car, right? Black Car 213. So so we got in the van, which it was Andrew in their van. And they had like no insurance, no tag, like probably a missing headlight.
We traded it out. It was like a.
So man, I remember they're like, man, we got this van. We're like, you got a van, dog? And they're like, yeah, let's go, dude. So
Brian and I had a title and we traded it out. It was like every 30 days we would sign it over to each
you
other.
would have to get a tag, but you still got to get insurance. So anyway, we get pulled over in this van you follow with like probably 7 of us. All dressed in black, and some of us with makeup on. The cops pull us over, they're like, you ain't got no tag, no insurance. So, of course, they go through the thing they call the drug dog. The dog literally does nothing but walk around the thing, and then the guy goes, whoop, whoop, you see that?
Dog don't
that
lie.
Dog don't bark. What is it? That dog don't bark.
That dog don't lie, boys.
That dog don't lie. So he comes in, he's like, starts searching the vehicle. And then he's like, y'all ain't got no weed on? He's like, the dog already detected some drugs in here or whatever. And then I remember Shane being like, I smoked all mine before I left. And I was like, why would you say that?
Shane said, yeah, I smoke weed, but I don't have any on me currently.
Yeah. I was like, why would you say that? So then they go through all of our stuff, and then they end up miraculously letting us go with no tag, no insurance, a busted light. So we end up driving. We're on the road again, dude. And I don't remember, did we play Dothan or something?
No, we were heading for Fort Walton.
That's right. So we get like we across the Florida line. We get pulled over a second. No, here's what happened, because we're in 2 cars. There's a second car. I don't remember, but I remember driving. I remember Allan in the left lane. A cop just is behind him. Well, he just merges over all the way to the side of the road. So the cop's like, well, fuck it, I'm turning on my lights. Like, why is this guy pulling over? You know? So he comes up and he's like, it wasn't gonna pull him over, but he just merged over. So he pulls over, and then we got no tag, no insurance. So once again, they go through the van. And they end up towing it, impound, right? They impound.
Yeah, they allowed Nick and Pecker
to come get all of our gear.
Got our gear, but they impounded.
And we ended up taking a big picture out by the road, and they were like all posing with
the cops.
Yeah, but they ended up taking our shit anyway, because we got a ride, and we ended up still doing the show.
Yeah, we played.
And then we got there, and we got picked up somehow. I don't remember this. All the gear got picked up, taken to Allan's mom.
Someone came and got you, and my ex-girlfriend came and got us.
Yeah.
We all piled in there, fucking 4 tours.
Yeah, man. Pretty much, I can't really remember a time that we ever toured as a band where we had insurance or a current tag. I remember that van that we had, like it literally had like bloody handprints down the side. It had like our MySpace at the time. And then we had took like death scenes and Mod Podge all over the glass. So if you're driving by, you're seeing like women impaled on stakes. And I remember my buddy telling me, he's like, man, I was out like way out in the middle of nowhere, Georgia, eating at this restaurant breakfast, and there's these 2 elderly men sitting talking about your van. The conversation was like, he's describing the van to a T, like, man, it had a bull skull on it and swords and dead people.
Pearl, right?
He's like, can you believe they were riding around that with no current tag?
That was the Pearl, right?
Yeah, the Black Pearl, yeah. It was crazy because that van, man, we did a lot of
fucking porno mag pages.
Porno, yeah, when you opened the 2 back doors, it was all porn Mod Podge on it, yeah. But we used to go, we do all kind of stuff. I used to have this like red Elvis jumpsuit, and like I used it for the T-Birds at one show. Well, Allan would put this fucking jumpsuit on that was too big for him. It had like a red cape and bedazzled red, straight Elvis'd out. And Allan would put like makeup on, and he would go and just do shit in public, and I would sit and videotape like people's reactions. I remember like one night we went to Video Warehouse, and he walked in there and he's got like his eyes all bugged out, just going, making gnarly noises and shit. And he's just going up and grabbing movies and putting them to ears like he's listening to them, looking around it. And like people are literally start leaving video like he's about to do some crazy ass shit, dude. Like he would just go and like we'd drive in that van and just have like crazy music playing. He'd pull up and just do his like scroll like that, like shit like that.
Dropping the rope on
people, yeah. Dropping the rope, yeah. Yeah, dude. I remember one time we ordered some fucking pizza, dude, and we set up candles going down the driveway, and we had like eerie, like fucking black metal playing, and then we had like a circle of candles going in the room with a thing, and then So Allan's standing in the circle, and the pizza guy gets there, and he's like, "Come in," you know, like that. The guy opens the door, dude, and sees Allan, dude, and fucking just dips out with the fucking pizza. And Allan's sitting there in the circle, like doing black metal stuff, dude.
This
We had to say
motherfucker,
like some kind of satanic
this motherfucker
stuff.
slept in a coffin for a while.
Yeah,
You remember
yeah, he had a
that shit?
full-size coffin.
The fucking, he lived with Darius Spears.
Yeah.
Fucking
He had the house, he had that full-size coffin, yeah.
Yeah.
We had that for a while, dude, and we ended up selling to this lady that does like paranormal stuff in town. And like after Allan passed, like I begged her to sell it back to me, and she's like, "Well, I've already bought it," you know. I think we sold it for like a couple $100 because we were moving, like we moved so often, it was like so awkward to carry and shit. But
Those, the trays there from the Phoenix City Hospital, right?
yeah, no, they're not. They're not on camera. They're not on camera. These came from a hospital legally, and they were used to carry Allan out, dude. I had no part in that. But Allan and somebody else got them. And one was given to me, and one of them we used to carry Allan out.
Remember when he fucking busted his fucking teeth all up in the fucking skate park?
Oh, dude, yeah, and he had like a broke tooth, dude. He looked so. I always kind of wish, like, he probably would have kept that look if it wasn't for the pain that he was in. Because, dude, he looked so fucking gnarly with that half tooth, dude. I mean, because you could tell it looked like it was from a fight or something, dude. Do you remember that? Were you around then? When he had like the half, it was a front tooth.
Allan fucking
BMX
wrecked his BMX bike,
like straight
fucking
to the face.
to the coping of a ramp.
It was a
It's
couple
like
teeth, but
smashed.
one of them was like a fucking dagger, dude. It was a half gone, the other was chipped.
It was hella gnarly.
Yeah, but it was like really painful for him, so he ended up having it fixed.
That's all I can see right now.
Someone explain to me why there's a giant death.
Were you recording that?
No.
Not at all. There's a fucking 5-inch nail poking out.
9-inch nail.
9-inch nails.
Yeah,
Oh my
those
God.
nails.
We ended up literally at a meth house in Midland City, Alabama. Like we went in this place and it was like the people started building a home and they're like, you know what, I think I'd rather smoke some meth, so fuck this house. And there was literally like half walls done, electrical wires hanging out. They had one room literally the size of a living room, nothing but mattresses, and there were like 10 girls there that would just fuck anybody. So like people would go over there and do drugs and have sex with these girls. They had another room for all the babies and the kids and shit. Well, we got there, dude, and this motherfucker had a Rottweiler that had to be 130. I mean, it was huge. As soon as we get out there, coming at us and shit, dude. And the guy's, oh, he's good. And literally, it wouldn't, but like 5 minutes later, Allan's over there and got just fucking going to town, dude. Giving this dog a red rock. And I was like, dude, that motherfucker's gonna bite you. By the way, I seen Allan get bit by a fucking pit bull, a big ass pit bull, lashed onto his hand, dude. Motherfucker didn't fucking say a fucking word, man. He was tough as fucking nails, man. I saw, like, we were sitting there and I walked up, we went to a barbecue, and I walked up and there's this big ass dog, and I was like, yeah, I'm about to pet it. I get up thinking it just went at the gate and started, and the guy flipping burgers, like, oh yeah, don't pet that dog, dude, it'll bite. And a second later, I'm like sitting there looking at the guy, and I look back and Allan's got his hand over. I thought he's pissed. Like, damn, Allan's petting that dog. And I look at Allan's eyes are like this big, and I follow it down to his hand, and the fucking dog is sitting there. You know how pit bulls start backing up and getting low, dude? And I was like, oh shit, he's got Allan. The guy had to take like this fucking wooden, like probably 12-inch like wooden round pole and just start banging over the head to get let go. Blood was everywhere. We rushed like straight to the hospital. And Allan, and anytime there's a dog bite like that, you have to report it. And if it's a pit bull breed, they put them down. And Allan fucking lied and told him it was somebody else's dog, so they wouldn't put the dude's dog down. And then they ended up putting, that's fucked up. There was these other two dogs that were mean as fuck across from this other house we used to hang out. Well, anyway, one of them got blamed for it, dude. So, shit.
So they put it down.
Yeah.
Actually, it was like snapping shots of this cougar giving him a blowjob after he waved the dog's dick in her face.
He jerked off the dog, not to completion.
Well, yeah, so Allan had a loaded gun probably, I don't know, in the back of his pants, and they were trying to get him to stage dive. He's like, no. Huh? Yeah, he did. And like by loaded, we mean no safety on.
In the
wrong
chamber.
person grab it, and motherfuckers popping
And
off.
honestly, like, I don't think that gun had a safety.
No, it didn't.
No, it didn't.
Because Allan, like a lot of times, I'd be like, man, why keep one in the chamber? He's like, what's the use of having an unloaded gun? So like they kept trying to get like stage dive. He's like, no, I think I'll pass. They're like, yeah. He's like, no. So he's like,
They were like, oh, you're fucking Allan Nasty. You're being a pussy about stage dive. He's like, all right, well, you might get shot in the face.
I think it was so weird, like how I came into everything, because like I would not even be here, like even close.
Yeah.
Like you just out of the blue one day texted me and was like, oh, you play bass? And then I was like, yeah. Remember being a punk band? And I was like, fucking, whatever.
Yeah.
Like that's literally
how it all started.
How we met.
Shit, you met your wife for being on the road.
And I tried to talk you out of getting her name tattoo. You remember that?
Yeah, dude.
Like you won that tattoo. I was like,
real quick. Yeah, this is good for the goddamn camera.
Yeah, like this motherfucker. He's hooked up with this girl. The night before.
We had not. No. I guarantee fucking to you, we had not fucked.
You hadn't had sex yet.
We had not. I had not had sex with that person.
But you were somewhat familiar.
I wanted to a lot.
There was something going on there.
Yeah.
So basically, we went to there was Jenny's skate park. Yeah. In Dothan, like Vampires played or something.
Yes, Vampires did play.
And like there was a tattoo raffle, and he basically promised this woman.
Okay.
That if he won the raffle, he's like, if I win the raffle, I'll get your name tattooed on me.
Okay, and the raffle, there was people buying fucking 10 raffle tickets. There was people buying fucking 20 raffle tickets. How about one? I was like, there's no fucking way I'm gonna win, obviously.
That motherfucker won. And like everybody else there was like, Pepper was, what were you, 20 at the time? You were underage. You weren't 21. And I was like, okay, I'm 21, Chad's 21, and Pepper was like, I'm gonna get this woman's name tattooed on me. And I was like, Chad, please help me stop this motherfucker from making the biggest mistake of his life. And Chad's like, hell yeah, get in here, tattooed on you. and now I have to eat crow because you know what? We played their wedding, fucking like not too long ago. So that was the funniest shit ever.
No, and to be honest, also, if Allan fucking didn't bother the shit out of me and Annie, we probably wouldn't be together. Allan made fun of us so much for being fucking lovey-dovey, fucking kissy face. Like if Allan hadn't given us so much shit for being fucking lovey-dovey, then we probably wouldn't be together. Because Allan gave it, especially like Annie, he gave Annie so much shit about fucking being all over my dick, and I really do. Like I'm convinced.
Small dick in that.
I mean, she could barely see it, but she was all over. It's not hard to be all over when it's just so.
That dude could hold liquor though, because I remember 85 had these steep stairs that came down. He would barely make it up the stairs, and then he would go and he would throw his leg over the motorcycle, and he would be stone cold sober. He would ride off on that bike stone cold sober like it was nothing. It was hilarious. I was like, we can't let him get on that bike, and they're like, dude, he's good.
To say, Cindy, thank you very much. We have to. I think one of those guys is on the other line. His name is Chad. Chad, you were evicted at gunpoint.
I was.
What were you doing, man?
Well, we had a place that it was kind of known locally for being like a punk house, and we just have outstanding, huge parties. It was only a 2-bedroom place, but at one time we had 10 people living there.
Oh boy!
And we elapsed on our rent for a few months. That and having concerts at 3 a.m. in the residential neighborhood. And then just while we'd have parties on like a Monday or Tuesday night where there'd be 60 or 70 people there. And
Chad, I have to ask you something. It's been a while since I've been your age. did you guys just not give a damn about other people? I mean, that's what it comes down to. If you're having a concert at 3 a.m. and the word concert is disturbing, because that means there's quite a bit going on.
Amplifiers.
Yeah. Did you just not care about the other people in the neighborhood?
Well, that was a different point. I mean, when I look back now, I feel really bad about it.
Yeah.
But at the time, it was just we were having such a good time.
Yeah. And as long as you were having a good time. So what happened? They called the police.
Well, eventually what had happened is the landlord got hold of, because we had posted like a eviction show that we were going to have. It was going to be the last show there before we got evicted on MySpace.
Mm-hmm.
We had a flyer and stuff made up for it. And he called wind
The
of it. He and
eviction
a friend
show.
in the Marshals, and the day before it happened, it was like 7 a.m.
Yeah.
We get a knock at the door, and the next thing I know, like, they're just pulling us all of the house. Like, half of us were still undressed, and we're just out on our knees out in the front yard. I think they were expecting to find, like, some serious stuff like drugs and stuff, which they found none of.
Yeah, yeah. They broke into the house to get you guys?
They didn't break in, they knocked, and my little brother opened the door.
Yeah.
But
and then let them in. And the police came in with their guns drawn?
They came in with their guns drawn. I had like like a laser pointer on my head.
Whoa.
I mean, when I look back now, I mean, it was really bad. I would never do that again. You know,
Whoa.
That experience made me grow up really fast.
Well, oh yeah, laser pointer in your head will. All right, Chad, take care. Hey, behave yourself. Keep your nose clean, all right?
I will.
All right, pal.
Bye-bye, Chad.
See you later. It's 10 before the hour. Much, Todd.
Alrighty.
All right, take care. I love how he brought his 13-year-old kid along.
Oh my gosh, y'all. Chad, the punk rocker with the band 213 after Jeffrey Dahmer's apartment that kicked this whole subject off, we have his landlord on the phone. Rhonda, you are not punk rocker Chad's landlord.
Yes, I was. I will never be again, though.
How small is the world?
That's amazing.
I've listened to him a couple of times on the radio and just listen and just kind of laughed to myself because I knew, you know, how things really had happened.
And how did they really happen?
Well, they were, you know, of course, they were getting evicted because they had not paid their rent.
Rhonda, would you turn off your radio while you're talking with us?
Yeah. Of course, you know, the reason they were getting evicted was because they hadn't paid their rent.
Right.
And when we went down, you know, we were told that it was going to be a little bit more difficult to get them out because the marshals were like, marshals or sheriff's department, whoever it was actually watching them anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Because they knew something was going on up there.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it just so happened that, you know, we were going to have to rent a cop to watch, you know, to stand by that place the night of the eviction party because they didn't think they'd be able to get them out before that.
Mm-hmm.
And so...
For people who don't know, they were going to be evicted, and so they went on the internet and they said, we're going to have a big eviction party and a concert.
They had it all over the, you know, the MySpace and all that.
Everywhere, right. All right, so...
And that's how we found out.
Okay, so you found out, and then the popos came and they were ready for him, huh?
Well, no, it was for their eviction, but they were ready because they were thinking, you know, they had already been tipped off on other things, I guess, from other people.
Yeah.
And so they were ready to try to find out, you know, find some stuff, I guess. That, you know,
right.
We didn't know of anything illegal going on inside.
Right, right.
But I guess the cops did.
Okay, so what happened?
Well, they, you know, they told us to stay back, that we weren't allowed to be around there because it was a raid kind of thing at the same time.
Yeah.
And so there was probably about 5 cop cars, sheriff's cars, whatever, that ended up going down there and, you know, going in and everything and making them all get out. But there was like 10, 15 people staying at this place, and it was like a 3-bedroom house.
Yeah, we got all of that. Well, listen, if you were to talk to Chad, he's probably still listening right now, what would you say to him, Rhonda?
That I really hope you've turned your life around.
We had the Dozier Street Boot Gang was like kind of our first crew. No, Down South Power Crew was our first crew, man. I had the Dozier Street Boot Gang. And to be in the gang, you had to we had this real sketchy yard that was it used to be grass, but so many people partying, it was just mud. And then it went down gravel to the street. So we made people spin on a base, down a beer, spin a baseball bat. We'd move them 10 times. They had to jump off the porch, run full speed to the cement, which always meant they're going to Pete Rose, skin themselves up. So they do the spin, drink the beer, run down the street, drink another beer, run way back up, doss the big boot that held 4 beers. So it was a total of 6 beers in a matter of 2.5 minutes. And then that's how you had to be initiated in the Dozier Street Boot Gang. And we had these bandanas that we went and bought from Hobby Lobby and we gave them out. And believe it or not, people started coming just to join this thing, dude. And it was really just a chance for us to really laugh at people just hurting themselves, dude. But yeah, man, people would spin and they just fly through the air, skin up their knees. I saw Mark King, I think, was the one that went down and tripped and fucking face first into the back of his truck bumper, dude. Just bam, right in the face. We played this show several years ago. I think it was a Crypt Keeper 5. Yeah, at what was it, 85? Rhinos. It was at Rhinos. So we played a show. So, little backstory. That day, Lance, who was in the band at one time, had this big box full of porno DVDs. He's like, hey, Allan, can I put these in your room because I'm picking up my kids or something like that? So he's like, sure. So he takes it in Allan's room and just dumps the shit on his bed. So there's like all these pornos on his fucking bed. So we play the show. Allan's got mascara on. He's got real combination, real blood, fake blood. We go back home. Allan, everybody knows Allan knows he slept nude, dude. That's just how it was. So Allan just fucking takes off his clothes, lays down on these porns. The next morning it's like, doo, doo, doo. My little brother opens the door, and next thing I know, dude, it's like they had a layout of the house. They're just fucking, you know, all in there, fucking guns pulled, red like fucking laser beams on everybody. And then my door gets fucking knocked in, and we're just sitting there, and our hands are in there. So they pull us all into the house, and we had like a 2-bedroom house, but there's probably 12 or 13 people there staying. So they were all out in the dirt, and they got this gun on us. And they start going through the house. But Allan was one of the last ones, so they go into his room. Allan had like a sheet on top of him, so they have these guns. They're like, get up, get up. And so he just stands up butt naked. He's got all this porn he'd been laying on. So they let him get dressed. We go outside, and pretty much, man, they fucking started pulling everything out of the house, but we didn't have like anything illegal. They're like, what's this? He's like, that's rolling papers. There's also tobacco in there too, you know. And then one of the guys that lived with us had all this medieval weaponry. So they're pulling out like, well, it's almost like evidence bags, you know? So they bring out this thing that's like, something you hold like a Wolverine claw, and then they brought out like a battle axe, dude. But the night, though, when they served the eviction papers, there was 2 people having like a sword fight in the yard. And this girl cut this dude, and they spelled murder real big on, or you know, like red rum, real big on our fucking, across our front door. So when the cops came and put the eviction notice up, it was right there. So they thought we were just fucking crazy, man, because we'd have all these parties. Like Monday night, there'd be 60 people at our house.
I loved it.
And it got to where the bars were calling and complaining to the cops about us because we were like pulling customers away to go party at our house. That was like in the middle of the ghetto.
Yeah, dude, I loved Edgewood Street. That was so much fun.
It was awesome. So yeah, so they come in, they get us all out there, they take all these weapons out, and then they make us leave, and we can't come back for like 2 hours. So I come back 2 hours later, and I'm literally, as I'm pulling out, it was like a big Hispanic area. There's like all these Hispanic people like grabbing our shit out of this pile in the front yard, like dispersing like fucking cockroaches with all of our shit, and we couldn't do anything about it but just sit there and watch them take our shit because we had been evicted. And I had just got paid too, and I had the money like on my little nightstand. That shit was gone, dude. It was just. So the first time we go to Mississippi, we meet Art's dad. That's who we used to always stay with. Anyway, Art's dad heard about our whole story with the boot. So we go up to see Art's dad, and he fucking has a boot. So we're like, let's drink, you know. So we just do. At this point, we were probably the best beer drinkers we'd ever been. I personally had ever been. I could drink some beer, dude. I could probably knock out close to a case by myself at this point. So we're drinking, and me and I think Zach leave to go to the store, and we come back, the fucking cops are there. Art's dad's in handcuffs. They're putting him in the back of the car. And the amount of time that we left, the neighbor, I guess they were just being loud in the front yard. The neighbor did something, so Art's dad went over to Allan, immediately went over there and just started, you know, fucking picking a fight with the dude. Well, they came back and Allan hid, and they arrested Art's dad. But I think we ended up getting Art's dad out. I can't remember the scenario with that. We got out, and then we continued to drink. I remember everybody's laughing, having a good time. And then Art's dad yells, and I go around there, and dude, fucking Zach and Allan are both choking each other out, dude. And I don't even know what the fuck happened. So I just go, like, adrenaline rush and just pull them apart. And, you know, then just kind of stop the whole thing. And then it just goes to, like, a laughing hysterically between the two of them. Back to drinking. That's the end of that story. But yeah, man, we had a lot of good times there, dude. Mississippi used to be our favorite place to go because there's We'd play here all the time, nobody gave a shit about us. And we got to play. The first time we ever played it in Mississippi, it was like shortly after Katrina. And like a lot of people from New Orleans had came into this area. There was nothing to do. Like most of the places were destroyed. So the first show we ever played was at a VFW hall for like 400 people, dude. It was like we showed up and we played a shitty show. There was like this fake wall that was not a real wall. And I didn't know that, so I thought it'd be cool to go and do this little run, punk rock thing, and kick off the wall. When we returned, like this whole fucking wall is probably the length of this room. Boom, dude. Anyway, our set fucking sucked, dude. We were terrible, but dude, we sold like more merch than we'd ever sold, and it just became our favorite place, dude. We go there a couple times. We went there. Do we have churches there protesting us because of the stuff we were doing? When we started 213 locally, our goal was not so much like, it's more me and Allan sitting around and talking like, we're like, dude, let's just become the most hated band in town. Because at the time there were a lot of Christian bands. And I was like, nobody's gonna really like me. Let's just do outrageous shit and let's just become the most hated band in town. So we went and made these pamphlets about our band, but almost like a concerned parent warning other local people in the community not listen to us. So it had like pictures of Jeffrey Dahmer. That's what the band, was based around, Jeffrey Dahmer's apartment number. And it said something like 213 local outspoken satanic, punk rock band.
They promote homosexuality.
And there was like their band is based around the homosexual serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer that would capture black African Americans and then go back and do homosexual. Well, like we tried to use the things that people. Another reason we picked 213 and Jeffrey Dahmer because we wanted to offend people in the South. If you want to offend them, talk about black people, talk about homosexuality, talk about serial killers. So we made this whole pamphlet, and then at the bottom it's like, whatever you do, don't let your kids go to this website. We tagged our website on it, dude. And we went, everywhere we'd go in town, we'd leave these things like on.
I have.
Yeah, you still have one. We leave them like on anywhere, the bathrooms. I would hit up all the churches in town. I sent that shit out to their youth ministers. I made like a fake email like Jesus is Lord at Gmail or something, And I sent that shit out with some pictures of like our imagery and stuff. So like we went from playing from like nobody to like we would do these shows at Flat Rock where we had like I didn't partake in this, but somebody would illegally break into this certain building and we would just do a show. And we would make up a name prior, like we'd get everybody together and say, okay, if the cops come and they ask who's in charge, we're going to say Jim Jimerson, And while they're figuring out who this fictional character is, we're going to be loaded up, rolling down the road. Because at Flat Rock, you would get a good 2 to 3 bands in, and then the cops are going to be there and break it down. So everybody would play a short set. But so we went to playing for nobody, and then we'd have so many people at the fellowship hall at Flat Rock that would pour over into the outside, dude, and we'd be in there. Matter of fact, you met your first love, your wife, at a Flat Rock show, and Allan, she pissed in Allan's mouth, So we do that, and then I would get on top of Allan and like throw up in his mouth, and like we would just do gross ass shit. We just want to piss everybody off, We done one show where we went like a butcher shop and we got like a bunch of like decapitated boar's heads and like all the blood and guts and stuff. And Allan had this. It was a whole pig, like the head and snout, and the eye holes were cut out with a big flap, and he wore that out. And then I came out with those boar's heads and we threw them in the crowd, and the people thought they were fake until they started holding them, dude, and realized it was fucking real. And we do shit like that.
That was awesome too.
Like the shit that we actually did, which was pretty gross. Like it got blown so out of proportion. By the time the story was told 100 times, dude, it became this huge tall tale where we were slaughtering animals live on stage, and we just lived it up like, hell yeah, we did, and all this. But yeah, we'd pack that motherfucker out, man. We'd bring bands to town. It was awesome, dude. Those days were awesome, and then
I miss the Flat Rock.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I think at some point it just kind of fizzled out, and we're kind of like back to having, or the scene just changed. People's like, okay, I can only see you throw up so many times. And when it came down to it, nobody really liked our music, except our friends. I mean, at the time, we just weren't playing what was hip or cool. I really feel a lot of this stuff, man, if we could.
It's still good.
Yeah, I feel like if we were to come out today, man, it would really fit in with a lot of, bands that are playing. Because we were kind of like in the wrong time era.
I love the I love the carrying Allan out in the trash bag.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite things ever. Carry him out in the trash bag and he just like tears himself
Tear
out of
the
it.
bag. Yeah. I remember when we played, we got put on an all-Christian show. I don't even know how we got on this. Like, we pushed to do it and it happened. We were like playing with Blood Comes Cleansing. And it was all these Christian bands. And we went fucking balls to the wall. It was like the Champions Den, I think, dude. And we got blood. We got blood all over their shit. All their gear had blood all over it, dude. Like, we've done all the nasty shit. We opened up too, which was great because we let the whole stage was done with, dude. But we did. I mean, it was fun, dude. It was like, man, people hate us anyway. Let's go in here and be even more hated.
I love that shit.
And then for a while, it turned around where a lot of people were liking us, and locally we were, being able to make a little bit of money and have fun.
I only got to do the blood one time.
Yeah.
In 2013.
I think a lot of it was like when we started out, that was kind of the whole thing. But it got to the point we wanted to know if people wanted to hear us for the music and not for everything else, because we started taking like a more serious turn with it. And that's kind of when we stopped doing all that. And we went through so many fucking member changes, man. I think everybody was in 213 at some point, dude. But
we played with Blitzkid. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And what was that at?
Oh, that was Augusta, Georgia. That was a cool show. I mean, we done some really cool shows. But to me, man, like my favorite lineup of 213 was like the original, man. Like with Danny, Zach, me, and Allan. In the beginning, before things got weird, and there was some animosity and stuff, but that was my favorite lineup, dude. Because at one point, dude, I felt like we had a reputation, dude. Like I remember being at a campfire one night, dude, and like some dude had like hit a girl, and out of nowhere, dude, Danny's shirt just explodes off his body, dude, and he's just like trying to fight this dude. And then this whole weekend, there was like 3 nights in a row we had gotten fights. That night, Danny, like the next night we're in Florida, and this guy didn't want to pay us, and we all fucking bucked up like 4 dudes. It was us 4 against like 7 or 8, dude. Like there for a while, man, that shit just, it just felt like a brotherhood, It was like, kind of like the original crew. But I mean, I had a lot of fun, with a lot of the other members, and we became a better band as time went on. We definitely were not as good of a band back then, but we became better as time went on.
Remember the first time that 213
Yeah.
Nick Flagstar tour?
Well, plenty of shit happened.
A lot of stuff happened on that tour.
One of my favorites was fucking Pecker and Nasty and Zach D smoking salvia in Pecker's bedroom when we were at Fort Walton.
Yes.
And Nasty had never done like any real psychedelic drugs before. And I busted in the room, was like, "What you guys doing in here?" And Nasty was like, "These shoes look just like ice cream." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he's just petting this pair of Vans.
You had to be there.
First time we ever hung out after a show, we invited Chad and Allan over. We played at Flat Rock that day, and we invited Chad and Allan over. I get a knock on the door. I fucking open the door. Allan is fucking ass naked, his dick tucked in. It was like the first time we ever fucking hung out outside of playing music. That shit was so funny, dude.
Fucking, the first time I saw Nasty tuck and run was the fucking PMS show, and he gave most of the crowd pink eye by spraying him with his ass water.
Oh, yeah.
That motherfucker shoved the fucking water bottle up his ass on stage while his fucking buddy foo-foos around and shit. And then he got all mixed up on which water he could drink and which one had been up his ass. So he grabs the ass water, and I was like, "Whoa!" And he's like, "Oh shit!" And then he just sprays the crowd. But that wasn't even the most fucked up part. The most fucked up part was Pecker had took a shit in the alleyway earlier in the night, and Nasty had left his t-shirt laying in the alley. Pecker didn't think about the fact that he didn't have nothing to wipe his ass with, so he just grabs the t-shirt, wipes his ass, comes and tells me, he's like, "Man, I don't know whose t-shirt that was, but I had to wipe my ass in the alleyway." Right after the set, fucking Nasty goes and just puts the bitch on. And I was like, "Oh no, dude, Pecker shit on your shirt." And he's like, "Oh fuck." So he goes to the bathroom, he like knocks 3 motherfuckers out of the way that were in the bathroom doing cocaine, and fucking scrubs his shirt off in sickness, throws the bitch back on and wears it all night.
He fucking threw up in his lap that time.
He got real drunk on that
shit.
Yeah.
He fucking, Allan, same apartment, Allan fucking, we got this fucking chair from
like Goodwill or some shit. It smelled like an old lady. And Alan was like the only person that would fucking sit in the thing. And we've been drinking all fucking night, and he just fucking leans down and throws up in his lap. And just keeps talking like nothing fucking happened. I'm like, nasty dude, you just threw up in your lap. And he's like, fuck you, no I didn't. He borrowed like a pair of skinny jeans from me after that, dude, like barely fit in him. His like guts hanging over to his dick out of his skinny jeans.
I
saw pictures.
How about Trey? I know you got a story.
The first time, like I hung out with Allan, like in DJ's basement, all that shit, whatever. The first time, I was there. The first time I came up to Columbus was the first Plug Uglies meeting, wasn't it? You invited me up, or my bike up, we all rode, whatever. So Chad was just coming back from a Head Some Hangover tour, and I was spending the night in town with whoever, and so Chad was like, "Hey man, you're staying at Nasty's house," and I was like, "Alright, cool, I guess." So I'm thinking like, "Fuck, you know, I'd already been to DJ's basement, I've seen all that shit," and thinking like, Allan's house, like, alright, whatever. That's better than driving home in the 40-degree weather, you know. So we go back, and I think it was John Hayes' house, but I didn't know that. So we walk in the living room, and I'm like, "This is a nice joint." I'm like, "Man, fucking Allan, fucking." He's playing the game, like, he's good. I'm like, "Damn, man, you put on this whole front." It was like right when Walking Dead came out, watching Walking Dead, we talked, we drink some beers, you know, a couple hours, whatever. He's like, "Alright, man, I'm tired," and I'm like, "Dude, I'm tired too." He's like, "Alright, you can sleep, you know, we're gonna go back to my bedroom, my roommate sleeps on the couch, and you can sleep on the couch in my room." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." And so we walk in his room. Come to find out, it was John Hayes' house, and Allan's got a mattress in the middle of in the corner of the room, and with one pillow, no sheets, nothing. And he's got a couch. Well, Allan gives me his jacket for a pillow for the couch.
Oh no.
And Allan has this old nasty ass like couch pillow on his little twin bed mattress in the corner. It was fucking freezing, man. And so we sleep in his room, and I was like, "Oh, he's a roommate here at this house." And I was wrong.
Yeah.
This is exactly what I expected.
That dude had like the least sanitary bedrooms of any friend I've ever had. Ever. It was always like a bare mattress on the floor with like 6 feet of fucking trash and a picture of Elvis like taped to the fucking wall.
He had so much like at the last.
Where'd Donnie go? Like the first time Donnie ever met Allan, he's ready to teabag Donnie. Where'd he go?
So Allan had this. He had this habit. He'd come home with all his pocket change and just throw it on the floor. And he literally could have paid his damn rent with all the pocket change that he had on his floor. So what happened?
I saw Nick there today.
I was on spring break, motherfucker.
I was already on a cane because the cops beat me that shit.
So let's start off with that because Nate Flaxar had a cane. So to explain.
Us 213 and somebody else.
No, I think it's just y'all two, man.
So like I'm Gimpy or whatever. I play my set, and then 213 plays their set, and about 3/4 of the way in, some of the rednecks in the back of the room start going like, "Play Metallica!" And they're like, "No, we don't do that. Try to be super nice about it."
This is a redneck bar in Crestview, Florida.
Yeah, Crestview, Florida. It's like South Alabama. Like
this bar is built in cinder blocks.
Yeah, fake bikers and
one of those places when you walk in, you immediately know that something's gonna happen.
Yeah, like we knew already. But so they're like, "No, we don't do that." So the crowd keeps getting madder and madder that they won't do it. But throughout the night, Allan Nasty's getting nastier and nastier. So like he like at some point like he just like he knocked his own beer over, and so it was just laying, and he just like punched it into the floor for some just random like.
I hate to interrupt you.
Beer.
I'm gonna interrupt you. First thing Allan Nasty does is there's a table full of empty beer bottles.
Oh,
all right,
shit.
it's a wooden table. So in the middle of 213 set, Allan freaking shout like throws all the beer rolls out,
gets on,
jumps up there and doing his thing, you know, and the bartender's like, "No, you can't do that. There's a broken glass, you know, you can't do that." So Allan's like, "Whatever." He gets down, and that was the first like thing that
I
happened.
think what happened is the guy told him to get down, so those guys already had it out for us when we came in as a biker guy. You could tell that they were just there to start some shit with somebody. So we kept trying to.
Well, because throwing bombs over.
Well, yeah, but hey, that's the punk rock penalty. So Allan got up there, the guy told him to get down, and then the guy made a comment, something like, "That's what I thought," or something like that. And Allan's like, "Fuck you."
Right.
And then I tried to defuse the situation. I'm like, 1, 2, 3, 4, right into the next song.
So when they go into the next song,
Yeah, now you're right.
the dude's goes back to the back of the room after that, and has to tell him to fuck off. But he goes back there and he gets more and more pissed off. So like this, and he's a big dude. He's bigger than Nasty. Like
8 foot tall.
bigger than all. I mean, he's not.
He was a big dude. He was a big dude. Like, he was probably about 6'4".
He was 10 foot tall.
Yeah, he was at least like 6'8", 370. So
You don't fish tail.
he starts like moving people
Like,
out of the
only
way.
people that
Like,
are 6'8" and 370,
Our
they're
crowd.
in the NFL.
And so he comes up to the front, and we all see him like rear back, and he thinks he's gonna lay out Nasty, right? Nasty's in scream mode.
Yeah,
he's down right here. He's like,
Yep.
like this, and he's this close to the ground, and I see that fucking classic like bigger right arm that like Allan's like a fiddler crab, man. He had this weak little left arm, and he had this big ass masturbating fucking left arm and right arm, and he's down like this, and I see him. I see his eye catch the dude. And I'm like,
I gotta stop you right there. I saw a different perspective. So Allan's got the book light, he's got a beer in his hand. The guy's coming forward. He obviously he's drinking beer. He's singing and drinking beer. So he's got a beer in his hand. I'll never forget because I look over at him. He takes that beer and sets it right by his foot.
Right.
And then his fist balls up. So I knew where it was going.
And it was the most from the fucking ground up haymaker I've ever fucking seen in my life. So he pulls his bitch up from hell and just smashes homeboy's face. And teeth just flew like fucking snowflakes.
Dude doesn't do shit except
Stagger
the fuck
He just
up.
staggered
And
back.
blood. It's like a
He's covered in blood and goes to the back. So then show's over. They're like, we're packing up, we're done. You know.
I got on the mic because I looked.
Yeah,
We just
him
want
and
to get
Derek got their
paid.
guitars back in case somebody else was going to attack them.
The other guy came running, so I took my guitar off and I had it back like a baseball bat. He stops and I get on the mic and I try my goal is to defuse the situation. So like, hey, we just want to get paid, get the fuck out of here, we'll be done. I was just like, just pay us. He's like, you better get the fuck out, you know. So we start loading shit up at this point. Well, at some point while we're loading up, I look over and this dude starts attacking Nick, who's on a cane.
So me and Nasty were talking about it as we're loading shit out, and I was like, that's why we call you Allan. Yeah. You know, he's like, fuck yeah, my folks shouldn't fuck with me, you know. So like, we're loading shit out, but I'm on this cane. But the thing about this cane is it's got like a 13-inch sword built into the handle, and shit, which this is the only cane I had because I wasn't expecting to get beat up by the cops the week before or whatever. So my ankle's broke. And I'm standing by the thing, so I hear this conversation go down behind me. I hear the big dude go like, where's that fucking singer? And then I hear this woman go like, he's right over there. He was asking for Allan Nasty, but I was the other singer in the other band, so I hear it, and then all of a sudden I just see bright lights, and I drop to my knees because the dude just smashed me in the back of the fucking head. So like I'm down on my fucking knees, and I think something like fell on me or some shit. I'm like, what the fuck? So I get up and turn. By the time I turn, Derek and Chad are already like coming for the dude. Like when they're on their way, right when they get hands on him, I fucking popped him one like right between the eyes. He's bleeding from the mouth from Allan Nasty, and then I caught him here, which immediately swole the rest of his fucking face up. And these dudes took him down, and it was just like, I mean, it was just a pummeling. It was fucked up. Like Nasty and Chad ended up in the hospital with their knuckles like bleeding and stitched, broken hands. And once they took the dude down and the fucking, I saw red, and I still had my stick in my hand. So the dude looks up at me, like almost like help me. Like my psycho fucking brain was like, I'm gonna smash your face with this cane now. So I thought that I smacked him, but Allan Nasty had always testified to the fact that I went fucking Arnold Palmer on him, and I just fucking which I believe because the sword went flying across the room. And this weird little like wannabe biker dude like stepped up like right when that happened, and he was like, that shit ain't cool, and I was like, it's not your fucking business. And he was like, okay. You know, and,
I think that's the guy I broke my hand on.
Yeah, that's right, because right after that you just
and he had like one of those leather vests with the threads, and I pulled it back so hard that shit just went flying.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
I I had him from like behind, so I was just hitting him in the back of the head. And then finally he turned around, and by this time, like everything, logic started to set in. And I'm like, oh shit, none of us, Allan's hand's bleeding, mine's broke, everybody else's face is fucked up. Like all my friends look okay, and they are totally fucked up.
Our hands are fucked up and their faces are
I was like, we gotta get the fuck out of here. So that's where I'm at. But I remember there was a point that there was this girl that had showed up and she just started screaming when this happens.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop for like 3 or 4 minutes.
Well, Dungeon Master almost got us all arrested because he grabbed a knife and I hit the dude with the fucking sword went flying. My ex-girlfriend grabbed it and put it in her belt like a goddamn pirate or something. So Dungeon Master grabs the fucking knife from her, hides it in his truck. And he's gonna leave with it. He's with this drunk bitch.
So here we go. On to the Dungeon Master. So at this point, we know that me and Allan got to get the fuck out of there because I got a broke hand.
It was a long story.
And this is about to get better. It's about to get real good. And it's going to have more respect for the Dungeon Master. So anyway, my hand's broke. Allan his hand's all fucked up. You can see the bones. So
is that picture?
Yeah.
That's Allan Nassie's hand from last night.
You won't feel anything. Yeah.
I don't know, man. That looked like he was rough. Get in there. Watch the shit moving around in there. Can you see it?
Yeah, not so much on the. Yeah, it's pretty rough. Yeah.
At this point, me and Allan know we got to get the fuck out of there because we're like, Allan's probably on probation. I was probably on probation, so like we gotta go. I turned to him. I was like, "Can you give us a ride?" He's like, "Fuck yeah," you know. So he has a camper shell. So we open the tailgate. We jump in the back.
So he's hiding two
criminals,
and he's got my fucking 13-inch blade like,
in the car
with him.
So
and this drunk bitch.
You know how hey, please walk through.
Fucking Daphne,
dude, please. If that failed, dude, I lose my mind.
Daphne.
Danny Kaye's ex-girlfriend, Daphne.
Dude, I had so much sex with that girl.
Yeah, of course you would. Everybody else did too.
Alright. So anyway, we get in the back of this truck. And
it was cool. She was like this big though. She knew my name.
It's like one of those situations where like if something's happened to you, you need the cops there. They wouldn't show up for 8 hours. The cops were there like within minutes.
Yeah.
So
we're still getting punched.
We're about to pull the fuck out, and all I can hear is like.
But it's an unmarked vehicle, so Vincent doesn't even think.
And the guy standing there is like, whoa.
So he thinks it's like friends of the dude, so he tries to go around him.
No,
and
dude,
the cop gets out.
Honks the dude.
Yeah.
He gasses and hits the fucking
cop. And cop gets out with the gun.
And he's like, I'll fucking kill you or something like that. And then me and Allan lay down, we look at each other in the eyes.
My crazy ex-girlfriend hops up in front of the fucking gun in between the cop and Dungeon Master and is like, you ain't gonna shoot nobody, motherfucker. And I grabbed her ass up and drug her back to the back of the fucking room.
I walked back in the bar to pay my tab at that point.
So me and Allan look at each other and we're like, dude, we gotta get the fuck out. So we climb out this tailgate while the cops got the gun, and I take off running like a fucking bullet. Allan, we ran different directions, dude. Yeah. And then all I know is I end up here is like, stop right there. So I thought it was a cop, so I throw my hands in the air and I turn around and it was the dude. I broke my hand on his face and standing there. And he's like, it's just me and you out here, boy. And I was like, and by that time,
bad place for you to
by that time I've been thinking, and I'm like, okay, dude, we weren't necessarily in the wrong for what we were doing. You know, we were defending ourselves. You know. So I'm like, you know what, fuck it, I'm going back. You know, I'm going to give my side of the story. So the whole time I'm walking back, this dude's right at my ear breathing like, so we get back and
right? So drunk bitch that's in Dungeon Master's car starts screaming, just freaking out, and the cops are like, we're gonna need to search that truck. And we're all like, oh, fucking perfect, right? There's a huge fucking knife in it. So they pull the fucking knife out. I can't let Dungeon Master take the fall for it. He was gonna. He's like, that's mine. I was like, no, it's not. It's mine. It came out of the cane when I smacked this motherfucker with my stick. So then the cop's like, why'd you hit somebody with a stick? And I was like, well, he assaulted me when I was standing completely fucking still, you know. So we all have to give fucking statements. He takes all our knives. The cop takes all our knives and all that shit. But then fucking Vincent hooks up with the cop at the Waffle House like half an hour later. The cop gives him all his shit back. Yeah. All the knives. Like, I got my knife back from Vincent like a week later. Yeah.
Yo, I'll never forget because Vincent, like the cop, Vincent just hit a fucking cop.
With a car.
And the cop is trying to be nice and not take him to jail. And Vincent is sitting there like, this is America.
Shit, yes, I got rights.
I got a right to talk about, dude, are you fucking stupid?
That dude's crazy.
Yeah.
So, but the guy that started it, that got his ass beat, that bled all over the floor of DJ's basement. After everyone runs outside and jump in the car to bail off, I was still in touch trying to pay my tab. Old redneck motherfucker walks up to the bar. He's the brother of the bartender, right? He's fucking Igor'd out. He's fucked.
Yeah.
Like just swollen to shit.
Baby Ruth fucked.
He stumbles up, sits down, asks his brother to get him a fucking beer, and he says, "Them boys sure did a number on me." Fucking swear to God.
Okay, so we go after this, like they take all of our statements, you know, we didn't know what was gonna happen. We end up leaving. This was the only night ever on tour that 213 gets a hotel room, and guess what? Me and Ash spent the whole night at the hospital.
At the hospital.
So we get in the van while Derek and them get their own bed. We go to the hospital. And we get to the first hospital, and there's motorcycles parked outside, and I'm like, dude, wouldn't it be fucked up if these are those guys? Sure enough, we walk in the fucking doors.
Homie's getting his
The doors open. He's sitting there in the tape, all in, and we look at each other. It's like a lock eyes at me. And I'm like,
We gonna fight
fuck this, man. And we just roll. We literally drove like 45 minutes to the next hospital because Allan didn't even want to go to the hospital. I was like, dude, your bones are showing in your knuckles. And I was like, I talked to him in the mind because I knew my hand was broke. So I was like, please go for me. So we ended up going to the hospital. We get this doctor who's not even a doctor yet. She's like learning how to do shit. And so as she goes,
They went to the vet.
yeah, she goes to Allan first, and she gives him a couple shots, which he handles, you know, like a champ. And then she starts sewing him up. The first 4, nothing wrong. She hits one knuckle, dude, and he's like, "Oh, bitch!" Like that, dude. He like flexes up, you know, like that. And she's like that. She's like, "Can you feel that?" He's like, "Fuck yeah!" You know. So he gives him another shot. Numbs it, sews him up.
Yeah, the first one sucked.
Yeah, she sets my hand and she doesn't do it right, so now I got a floating knuckle.
Yeah.
And so to make a long story short, we get back to the hotel about time for checkout, eat what's left of the donuts and the free buffet, and drive all the way back.
I guess I'll just take you around and kind of show you, and I think this thing right here, this is one of the, after Allan passed away, I couldn't find like a lot of his lyric books, and then one of the guys we worked for called me a few months later. It's like, I got this suitcase full of Allan shit in the back of a truck. So I went over there, and his lyric books were in there, which I was really excited about. And this is just something Allan had wrote, and I really feel like anybody that knows Allan, it kind of sums up who Allan was. I mean, it was simple. It says, a 6-pack of beer and a frozen pizza, Pall Mall Reds in my top pocket, I live my life like there's no tomorrow. And that's exactly how Allan lived, man. He probably made like $150 a week, and he was the kind of guy that would give that money to help his friends out. He liked to party, he liked to have a good time, and he really did live every day like he wanted to and for himself. And so basically this, as you can see in this picture right here, which I don't know how good the camera can pick that up, but that's me and Allan. Allan right there is probably about 15. That's me sitting beside him. That was after Ashes of October show in Dothan, Alabama. He's wearing a Misfits shirt, which you can see years later he's wearing the same shirt. This is actually the shirt that we end up having framed. Probably one of my, I think one of the coolest things that we have in here, aside from his bike and his vest, is this shirt, because the history of it. Because he wore this shirt relentlessly. I mean, this thing, I can't even tell you how many times it's been worn. But you could count on, he had like 3 shirts that every time I saw Allan, I could pretty much count on he was going to be wearing. And it was this one, a Macedon shirt. He had like a Nick Flagstar shirt. But so basically, what we did in here, we've got like a lot of posters from the shows we played as 213. If you go, let's see. This is this poster right here we had made to kind of resemble his favorite shirt. And the lyrics are, the quote up there is something he had wrote in the back of a folder. And it says, "Of all the things I've owned in this life, I value the scars the most." And if you ever saw Allan, man, he was covered in scars. His knuckles were all beat up from fights he had been in. His arms were scarred up. When he was a kid, his appendix ruptured, and he nearly died. He had a stroke, so he had a huge scar on his stomach. But I think, you know, it definitely was a part of Allan, you know. But that's probably one of the coolest things, man, that I found in those lyric books. Right here is something Allan never even told me about. Like, I never even knew about. I found it in a cigar box when I was getting his things together. And it's basically different notes from different girls who give Allan permission to have sex with their corpse if they were to pass away. And most of them had third-party witnesses. One of them is my little brother. And the one in Spanish is actually the girl in the picture. Which I thought I thought that would be something you would tell all your friends about. That's something he kept in a box, and I didn't even know about until afterwards, that I thought was really cool. Chance to get it. And after he passed away, not only did probably hundreds of people get some kind of memorial tattoo, but we had a lot of artwork done. This is one of the art pieces I like a lot. Was kind of a later, probably a year before Allan passed away. He had cut his hair into this mullet and had this buzz cut and this handlebar mustache, which was just crazy looking. And someone drew kind of an art piece of that, which I really like. There's like a coffin made of bottles, beer bottles that have been broke, and just shards of beer bottles. All the beer cans you can see in the air, those were donated by his family. The days after he passed away, those beers were actually drunk, you know, in memory of him. Anybody who knew Allan know that he loved PBR, and every time you see him, that's basically what he was. He was either drinking PBR or the cheapest whiskey you could possibly get. But this was his vest right here that we had Dakota Jury and Bubbles, who's now in New York, and a couple other guys, I'm not sure, kind of came together and had this made for the vest to go in, which is one of the coolest things, I think, about this room. The thing I like the most is this vest. And a little history on the vest. I actually wore this vest before him, but I got too fat to wear it. And when we left, we were in a motorcycle club, and when we left that to come and start this, I gave him the vest because I could no longer wear it. And it's probably one of the nicest vests he ever owned. It's actually an Abercrombie & Fitch vest, which isn't punk rock at all. But it was, I forgot how we came about it. But yeah, he wore that, man. He wore that with pride. And every day he would sleep in it. Allan would rarely sleep with clothes on, but he would sleep with his vest on. Like, he was just so proud to be a part of it. And I think for a lot of people that know about the Plug Uglies, a lot of them, for a lot of people, it's just a fun thing to do, and it's a club to be a part of. But for some of us, man, like me and Allan, it was really like our family, because growing up, you know, we were always kind of the outcasts, and I always found family in my friends. I found family in the skateboard community and the punk rock community, and that was kind of what drew me into that whole thing. And that's kind of what it represents to us. It really does. It's family for me. A lot of the guys that are a part of it, I've known for over a decade, and I really care about, and I know that would be there if I needed something, and vice versa. Here's a piece of art too that was done, which is it has some lyrics or something he had wrote that they had put a quote up. It says, "Getting on stage is my outlet. I still think fucked up shit from time to time, but I put it into words and scream it at the top of my lungs." Me and Allan had a kind of a long-standing tradition. Like every birthday, we would go and get wasted, and we'd, if it was his birthday, I'd get him wasted, vice versa. After Allan passed away, which was in March of 2012, when I went back to where I found Allan, he had a beer that was half drank. And I was sitting there and I was thinking about my birthday approaching in May, and it was a really, you know, it was just kind of one of those moments where I just kind of sat there and I cried. And I grabbed the beer and I drank the rest of the beer that Allan had started. And then I started looking at the beer, and then I saw it was stamped, the date stamped on it for expiration was my birthday, which was May 14th of 2012, which really, you know, it meant a lot to me at the time, and it still does. And then this right here, we had a big bonfire for Allan at Meat Hook's place in Dothan, Alabama, and it was on April Fool's Day, which for a lot of people, they probably thought in some ways that this was just going to be like a big practical joke and Allan would come out at some point. And but I think he would have liked it that way, because I think that he was just a funny dude, you know. So, but this was actually this was a leg of a chair that was like a family heirloom of Meat Hooks that some asshole in the middle of the night broke and threw in the fire. And I found this yesterday. I didn't know what it was until like days later. Meat Hook calls like, somebody threw my grandma's chair in the fire, I'm going to kill him, and all this. So that's where that came from. Me and Allan were both huge Misfits fans. Early Misfits, even the Graves era of the Misfits. And we got the opportunity to go and open up for them, which was an awesome experience. It was in Pensacola, Florida at Vinyl Music Hall. And afterwards, Eric, the drummer from Murphy's Law, and their merch guy was really impressed with our sound. They came up and talked to us. Eric got a CD from us, and they invited us to come hang out with them in Atlanta several days later. So that's what this pass is from right here. And this is a picture of Allan, and the guy sitting beside him is named Derek Dodd. That's probably the first time I had seen him cheese and smile like that in his lifetime. So, I mean, we had a great time, man. We went there, and Allan got to go on the RV and get the passes from Jerry. And that was one of the memories that I often think about that night. And here's a picture of me and Allan outside of the Masquerade with our passes. And this little mason jar right here is actually everything that was in Allan's pockets. That was the chain from his chain wallet, change, and that lighter right there. Those plugs right there were the ones he was wearing. And as you could tell when you look up right there, they're the same ones in that photo right there. Allan was a huge Elvis Presley fan, so that's where a lot of this stuff, you'll see a lot of Elvis memorabilia. There's like an Elvis doll on the bottom that was donated to us by Brandy and Jasper. And that's sat in here. Allan was a huge Elvis fan, as well as like Hank Sr. and a lot of other bands. This is a picture taken at the bonfire that we had for Allan, and it's me, Nick Flagstar, Dakota Jury, and Michael Morrison. And that was kind of just like, I kind of felt like summed up the night, man. I felt like as tragic and sad as it was when Allan passed away, because it was really sad for, I mean, I'm still not over it. It's been, you know, it's been years since it's happened. I still think, I mean, there's not a day that goes by where it don't cross my mind probably 10 times a day. And, but I felt like when that happened, the positive thing that came from it was that it brought a lot of us together. It brought a lot of us together, and I never felt such an outpouring of caring people like that I did in those first weeks and months. You know, people checking up and make sure everything was okay. But I feel like this picture kind of sums up, you know, where we were all at. You know, we were all sad, but you know, we all came together and we're there for one another. I guess you can edit some of this, so when I'm just kind of rambling. This right here, this letter right here, was something my son wrote. Allan made a huge impact on my son Damien's life, and Damien had wrote this to put in here. It said, "Dear Allan, he was a graceful man, and I will always love him and respect him." And that was the thing about Allan, dude. He could not only win over a senior citizen. Like if he's at a bar with some old dude, by the end of the night, man, they're probably going to be laughing, having a good time. But he was also the kind of guy that when we'd hit the road, my friends would call me, and like Bubs Harris would call me like, "Hey man, you staying at our house? Our kids want to see Allan." And we would get there, and Allan would sit there and wrestle with them for probably 2 or 3 hours. We'd go outside and eat and come back in. Allan's still out there wrestling and playing with them. I mean, everybody loved him, dude. He was great around kids. I mean, I could leave my kids with him, no issues, you know. They loved him. So he definitely had an impact on many people's lives, other than, you know, just people in the club. I mean, everywhere he went, he like made an impact on someone. And there's a picture or two. This was at our first clubhouse, and that was me holding Allan's vest, and my son and my first daughter at the time, Cordelia and Damien, on his bike. This is one of his crazy haircuts right here. He had it shaved it in a mullet. That's the one the picture was drawn after, and he's got like TCB shaved in the side of it. He's got, I think that's an alligator's tooth around his neck, some kind of animal tooth. This right here is from when he got he got probation for busting out a window on this place called a bar called Oasis in Broadway, because they kicked him out, so he got pissed off and busted the front window out, which he ended up going back and apologizing and paying for, so he made it right. This is something I found that his brother had wrote him. It says, "Dear brother, I miss you very much. Will you come for Christmas? Please write back." And that was prior to Christmas. Allan, no matter what was going on in his life, he always made it home for Christmas to see his mom and his family. That was his jeans, the last pair of jeans he was wearing, his motorcycle gloves. A lot of it, he had a ton of like trucker hats that'd say funny things that he'd wear, like "This cap stops at all bars," "all stressed out, no one to choke," you know, stuff like that. This is his pocket knife. He'd carry this on him all the time on his belt. Let's see what I got here. These right here are a couple of the, we wore these on stage when we played. That was the 213 logo, and that's kind of where the whole Plug Uglies logo came from. It started off as just the skull for 213, and as we go out and we meet more people, that became like a logo. It almost was like our original crew, because it became to mean more than just the band logo. It meant, you know, a lot of our friends had it tattooed on them, and you know, at the time when 213, when it was me, Allan, Danny Arancibia, and Zach Dees, like I felt like, you know, no matter what, we were like a brotherhood, man. No matter where we went, we knew we had each other's backs, and we were there no matter what. We had a lot of fun with that lineup on the road, and probably to this day is still my favorite lineup of 213. Was that four. And here's a picture that was drawn. It's got all of us kind of depicting us as I don't know, we're kind of dissecting some woman on a table. Allan's kind of hunched over and looking at her brain, and Zach's playing with her eyeball. I got her heart in the air. This is another picture done of Allan that's really cool. That was painted and given to us. This was Allan's bike, man. Allan rode this thing, rain, snow, it didn't matter. Like this was his main mode of transportation. And before Allan got a motorcycle, anybody that knew him knew that he couldn't drive worth a fuck. Like every car or truck he's ever had, he wrecked. So we were all kind of like, oh shit, is this a good idea, Allan getting a motorcycle? But like, he could ride. He'd ride the shit out of this thing, man. He'd ride it in circles. But everywhere, I mean, he rode this everywhere. It didn't matter. This was the only thing he had, so if it was raining, pouring down, this is what you would see him riding in. These were like art pieces donated for in here. This was done by Art from Mississippi, and she gave us these, and we put it in here. I know she did this one. I'm not sure if this one was done by Art. The morgue trays you see there actually came from a legit morgue, and Allan got them somehow that I won't disclose at this time. But he got those, and we used those to carry him out to shows for the 213 band. Like, he'd lay on them and we'd carry him out. His boots up there, man. Anybody knew Allan knew a couple things, man. He had the stinkiest feet ever, dude. If those things came off in your house, dude, half of the people in there were going to run out. But they were huge. I think they're size 14. And those, I mean, he wore those non-stop, man. No socks. They get soaking wet, and he just let them air dry. So you can imagine how they smell. But I know after he passed away, several Plug members drank beers out of those boots. That's one thing I didn't do and would never do, but there are several people that did. And a lot of these are just these are pictures, you know, that people either gave us or that we printed off of different things with Allan. A lot of like comments on his Facebook page after he passed away, just of different things that people that were touched by him, you know, stories or just how they felt about it. Trying to see anything in particular. It's probably one of my favorite pictures. We were, I think, at Fort Walton Beach at Nick Flagstar's house. We just played a show and we're hanging out the next day, just kind of hanging out and drinking. And Allan walks by and he sees this Ford Mustang. He's like, man, I want to take my shirt off and pose in front of this car, man. Will you take my picture? That's when he had cut his hair in a mullet. And this picture right here, dude, I never really got until it's kind of poking fun at the whole selfie thing, but he's got like an old school phone. Taking a selfie with an old school phone. But this was Allan's couch, and then we brought over. Yeah, a lot of us have put a lot of hours in this place, and really glad we got to do it. It's really sad that we're having to shut the doors. I hate it. That doesn't mean the end of this, and it definitely doesn't mean the end of the club. You know, my intentions are hopefully to eventually have another museum down the road. But it's definitely not going away. And I like the fact that we're going to have a way for people to view it and hear about him, you know, through the internet. You know, it'd be a good way for many people who's never been able to make the trip down here to actually see, you know, what we did do. And a lot of people put a lot of work in on this place. And I wish I could go down the list and tell you all their names, but it would probably take longer than we have. But I'm trying to think.
Now these are his guitars?
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. So this guitar right here was the guitar that I played for probably 75% of all the 213 shows. I played this guitar, and it's hanging here ever since. It's been played a couple times during fests and stuff, but it's kind of, to me, it's the history behind it. You know, I felt like it definitely needed a spot in here. This guitar was donated. Someone just did some art on the back, and we, you know, so we put it up on the wall. Yeah, anything you could think of, ask me, and then I'll, you know, kind of go.
What's this, the Allan Nasty and 213's grand fucking finale?
Yeah, so this is our album, like, after Allan passed away, we had actually recorded, we had 3 albums. We had the Meek Shall Perish, that was our first album. We put out in 2007.
We get a shot out of here.
We put that out in 2007. That was our first album, and that had me, Allan, Zach Dees, and Danny Aaron Sevia on that album. We did a tour with Nick Flagstar to support that album. After that, we actually put out an album called Gorgasm, which is right here. This is our second album. This is Gorgasm. And, yep, there we go. That was our second album, and in that album we had, the lineup was me, Allan, Zach, and we had Gilbert Walker on bass, who played with us for about 6 months and was on the album. That one right there got a lot of reviews in metal magazines and stuff, and kind of gained us a little bit of attention. We've done a lot of touring around the South for that. But after, shortly, a couple years after that, I think, we recorded another album, and it kind of never saw the light of day because at the time the drummer we were using just kind of dipped. He quit after the album was recorded, so we didn't know what to do if we wanted to go re-record it somewhere else. Zach Dees, actually, our drummer, recorded it. He was in the process of learning how to record, and he recorded the album. And so we didn't put a lot of. We recorded it. I think the same lineup: me, Allan, Zach, and Derek Dodd played bass on that. And we recorded it, but we never released it. Allan still had a bunch of spots in there he needed to go and do vocal things. Well, then Allan passed away, and it was all we had. And I wanted to release it for, you know, the first Nasty Fest. And so Zach went, and Zach, I don't know how much time he spent on it, but I'm sure he spent countless hours on it. And the first time I heard it, man, I literally cried, man, because I was so, like, Zach did such a stand-up job on it, and it was called Take Back Our Streets. That was the last album we put out. it just really captured the raspiness and how gnarly Allan's vocals were. I mean, his vocals, like, I loved Allan's vocals because I was a huge fan of Zayo and Dan from Zayo's vocals, and Allan reminded me of like a more gnarlier version of that. So, but when I heard the album, I felt that it really captured that sound. Like Allan, it was the gnarliest Allan has sound on any of our albums was on that album. But so what we did is we released this, and that's actually Allan's picture from when he was born. He's actually shooting a bird. That was his first picture ever, shooting a bird. So we put that album out, and this actually a double, 2 albums on one CD. It's got a re-release of Gorgasm, and then it's got the Take Back Our Streets. But all of these are available for free download on Bandcamp. So if you had never heard it, to me, like, it's not about, like, if somebody really wanted to hear it, they could hit me up and I would send them a free copy just to get the music out there. When I was on tour, I did a tour of the Independents, and I took out, I don't know, a couple hundred copies. I just gave them out for free because for me at this point, I just want other people to enjoy what Allan, his work. It's not, I don't care about the money or making any money off of it. If somebody really wanted the album, they could hit me up, and I would literally mail it to them for free.
You want to see badass, motherfucker? I'll show you badass.
Like, as tragic as all that everything was, it really like for like a month, man, like it really brought a lot of us so much closer together, dude. Like, it really sucked to lose Allan, dude. It sucked more than anything, but like it really brought a lot of us like together and made us fucking family. You know?
I mean, there's no way you and me would be.
Yeah, it's close, dude. Because I mean, you go through something that fucking tragic of losing somebody that meant so much to so many people, and we all were just in like this. It didn't seem real. And dude, I was like a fucking maniac for a week because I thought I wanted to find out who fucking. The only logical thing that I could think about is that somebody did something to Allan, dude, and I wanted to find out who the fuck it was so I could hurt them like they fucking hurt me. And but I will say that like it made us brothers, dude. It created bonds that nobody will ever be able to fucking tear apart.
Dude, I remember. Alright, I remember. I got off of work and fucking Satan-ass Devin had texted me saying, hey, you need to call somebody, something's going on out. And I remember calling your phone, and then Kelly answered, and I said, hey, I heard something's going on with Allan. Is he alright? And she said, just, yeah, I remember just driving over there. And it was so weird because I went through like 3 of the stages of grief like on the ride over there. It was so fucking weird. Like, I was so fucking mad at him for like a minute. It was, I don't know, man. It was so fucking weird. The whole drive over there was just so fucking weird. And I remember getting there and just walking around in a daze for a long fucking time. And I remember fucking Marky eventually showed up with a 30-pack of PBR, started passing them out, and that made everything so much better.
I just want to say, I want to clarify something too, because it means a lot to me. Like, anybody that says anything different than it not being a fucking just a freak accident, then they can fuck off. And because what happened was as tragic as it was, it was a terrible, terrible fucking accident, man. And that's about all I want to say, because I don't really want anyone to get into detail, because I don't like to even remember that. But I mean, it was terrible for all of us, dude. It felt like a fucking dream. Yeah. But I will say, man, like, the presence of Allan, like, I don't know what the fuck happens after you die, but I can tell you without a shadow of doubt that I felt him for days. I can remember the day it stopped. It was like I felt like he finally had let go and just moved on, like I felt him, dude. I mean, he was with me. So many fucking weird things happened that I felt like it was him reassuring me, like, yeah, man, I'm okay, dude. I'm okay, dude. I mean, I felt like we gave him the best going away thing, dude.
Yeah.
We were fucking in a church playing Pantera, Blood for Blood. The F-bomb was dropped.
PBR.
Drinking beer. There were so many fucking people in there that had poured out into the hallways, and we had a fucking Allan. Always we would sit around.
I think the best thing was like what meant a lot to me is like when you were like they cremated Allan and they're like, take him somewhere, take him where you think he would want to be, or take him where like you guys had something, or just, you know, or somewhere Allan would have wanted to go. You know what I mean? And
he was spread, dude. He was spread all over, dude.
London Bridge. Mikey took him to London Bridge.
Hey, we're in London, England. We're on the London Bridge right now in front of Big Ben and some body of fucking water that's in London. It's cold here. But we brought some of Allan Nasty's ashes with us to spread over this. London, England. Allan Nasty over London. Allan fucking Nasty. Nasty forever.
We are in the city of sin at the world-famous punk rock bar at the Double Down Saloon. And as per our friend Chad Darkwait's request, we brought Allan along with us. I've been holding on to this for a long time, wondering where would be the most appropriate place to put it. And Sin City, in the coolest punk bar that I've ever been to, right on stage, seemed like the most appropriate. Stay nasty, my friend.
I took him to the Canadian side of Niagara Falls. I went to the Alamo and I fed him to the big ass koi fish in the pond around it. I mean, you took him to the Double Down.
The Double Down Saloon in Las Vegas. Yeah.
I spread him all across the country, dude. Like, that was one of the things. I took him to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I think in Cleveland, and I put him right in the same spot that the Ramones were. I put it all over that. So he's sitting with the Ramones, like some of their stuff, dude. I mean, he's been all over, and it's really cool. We've had so many bands and so many people. He's been to Afghanistan, dude. I mean, he's
London.
Yeah, he's been all over, man. So I mean, a lot of really cool things that happen. That I'm really thankful that I'm surrounded by a lot of real and true motherfuckers that say they'll do something and do it. Because I mean, just to tell you, I mean, we built a museum for him, and that's how much Allan meant to us. I know a lot of people pass away that don't have any of this. They have a picture on the wall, man. He meant so much to us that we got together and we built this room to honor him and to be able to have somewhere to come back and reflect on his life and what he meant to all of us. What did you learn from Allan, Andrew? Like, did Allan ever teach you anything?
Everything, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, just like, it was like, just be free and be yourself, like, and it's like, don't give a fuck what anybody else says. Like, he taught me so much, like, you don't have to worry about what other people think.
But he definitely had like a don't give a fuck attitude. But he was really passionate and caring about his friends.
Yeah,
and that was the thing, like, you'll hear like a lot of stories about all the crazy shit Allan did and all the fights he was in. But to me, like, we like the reason I carry on this club is not because of those reasons. Yeah, those are cool, like cool stories, but because of the person he was and how he always helped out his friends. He was always there.
He was the best dude. Like, always there when you needed him. Point blank, period.
Yeah,
I mean, like,
I think that's what I was like.
He was always there.
I think Allan taught me that. Like, I think friends are the most important thing. He thought that.
Yeah.
He didn't give a shit about material shit. Like, he didn't give a shit about the things he owned. He gave a shit about the people he had around him.
Exactly.
And that's what I.
And he lived it. He lived his
life.
life.
He would like, he would turn everything into like a life lesson, but in like not like a preachy way, just like He's like, yeah, this is how the world works.
It wasn't a try thing.
You can't fucking change it.
Dude just lived his life, man, like to the fullest, like in all ways, not giving a fuck. It's the best dude ever. He taught me a lot too, man, because like he gave me like confidence, you know, because before like Allan, man, like dude, I think my first marriage. I think my first marriage, dude, I used to be like really self-conscious. I don't think I even took my shirt off, but like a couple times around the first person I was married to. And like I would see Allan, like he just didn't give a fuck. He was all scarred up. And like, you know, in the beginning, yeah, he was skinny, but he put on some weight, dude. He didn't give a fuck.
There's a time you went into that bar.
Yeah, dude, sit down naked at a bar. But I mean, that's what for real, man. The fact that he was, you know, several years younger than me, but like he taught me so much about life and not really caring what about other people think, and you know, holding your friends close.
That's what I was trying to get at too.
And he'd do anything for the people he cared about.
The dude, he just didn't have, he had no fear of anything, like.
Except frogs. Yeah, he's scared of frogs.
Hardly is the thing.
Yeah.
But he's just free, dude. Like, and that's what he taught me, I guess, is to be free. Just be yourself. You know, don't worry about what other people.
Be yourself, and the rest will follow. Dude. Like that TLC that said that.
His memory is important to me because of all the people that I know loved him so much, and the impact that he had on me in such a short time. It made it to where I wanted to do this. Love these guys. Nothing else I could think of better to do with my life. I do remember when it first happened, I had a really weird dream. I was walking down a hallway and I could hear like a vending machine, like a slot machine going. It was clinking, going crazy. And I'm walking down this hallway and it felt like I was walking forever. And I get to the end, and right when I get there, the machine starts going crazy, and there's like 7s and 8s and skulls and all kinds of stuff on this thing. And he was like, Allan just like turned back with that shit-eating grin that he had, and he said, okay, man, he said, you got to see me one last time. He said, but it's not your time yet. And it was like he punched me right in the face, and I woke up, and I was like, wow, that was really, you know, that was one of those things that was really powerful, because he had such a massive reach. And so, you know, everybody, I can't go around this town now when people see him and say, oh man, Allan used to do that, or Allan was part of that. And there'll be people you have no clue would know him. Don't even understand how, but he would know so many people.
I mean, there's a reason he has a whole room dedicated to him. There's a reason that we have Nasty Fest. There's a reason that you're sitting here filming with people fucking talking about him. Like, he was a way different person. He was like I mean, it sounds weird, like almost borderline like magical person. Just the way, just everything about him. And I remember a couple times he bitched me out, and I felt worse than when my mom would bitch me out. Like, he had more pull over my mom. His funeral was so goddamn fun, though.
Oh man,
that's
the only time I've seen that there were more F-bombs dropped at that funeral than I can ever think of.
Oh my god, the place, whatever place we rented out, they were shitting their pants the entire time. The music we were playing, all the F-bombs. Oh, and multiple people brought backpacks full of PBR and were passing them out during the fucking shit. They were shitting their pants and didn't know what the fuck to do. And then, like,
they did let us finish, which was very nice of them.
Yes, they were very respectful.
That was hilarious.
I'm sure somebody probably had to pay extra for that, but it was well worth it.
They did some crazy stuff at that funeral. They were throwing bullets in the bonfire. Hey, we'll just make sure we're safe. No big deal.
Remember when the cops showed up and they were like, you guys are shooting off fireworks? And they're like, well, we're shooting off a bunch of guns. They're like, all right, as long as it's not fireworks, you're good.
Yep.
Y'all be safe.
Yeah, fireworks are illegal. Handguns, perfectly fine.
Oh, y'all got some shotguns, some handguns? Nah, fuck it.
No big deal, just some dead trees.
Yeah. Don't fuck with any sparklers now. when they lit the bonfire, they were pouring gas on it, and everybody around was like, that's way too much gas. Somebody's gonna die. Like everybody, there was just whispers through the entire crowd, like, yeah, it's probably an excessive amount of gas.
Yeah, I know for a fact we poured 2 5-gallons on there because of me and Elliot.
Good amount, that's 10 gallons.
Yeah, but I think there was more because I think they threw kerosene on there that was just
kerosene.
like laying around.
I think there was diesel somewhere. Son of a bitch.
In all of this darkness we hold a flaming thought of self-control and food and grandeur. Where there is tragedy, you'll find sorrow. Flame of my eyes, I am looking to the shadows. In all of this darkness we hold betrayed by my own hands, I now stand alone. Where there is tragedy, you'll find I sit and wait for a sign, but nothing ever comes. I sit and wait for the end of this world. I sit and wait for a sign, but nothing ever comes. I sit and wait for the end of this world. The meaning on it black and dark, throwing up blood. In all of this darkness we hold, you fight for air inside of cellophane, give up all hope. Where there is tragedy, you'll find sorrow. Scream to the faded bloody teeth, this is your end. In all of this darkness we hold, stabbing to the twist, Jesus was there, you wait to a court.
He might be one of the only people I know who got exactly what he wanted out of this funeral. I mean, he got exactly what he wanted out of this funeral. So, if we could all have a life that meant that much, we couldn't ask for much more.
Oh my God, the bonfire? They're pouring gas in the bonfire?
Definitely dangerous. Bonfire's eyebrows are left off of
Yeah.
It was like people were crying and couldn't fucking see straight, but they were shooting off guns.
We were, the whole time we were like,
might die,
like
but, you know, whatever.
when they started pouring gas on, I'm like, oh, that's probably too much gas. That's probably too much gas.
Lot
And
of
they
guns.
just kept doing it.
Lot of
Oh,
fire.
and then the cops showed up and they were like, you guys shooting fireworks? Oh no, it's just guns. And they're like, all right, so as long as you're not shooting fireworks.
Yeah. At that point, dude, like none of us really gave a fuck.
The cop showed up, there was somebody holding the shotgun in the fucking driveway. I was like, yo, what the
God,
heck?
that's, I mean, fuck anybody else. That's the best fucking funeral I will
That was the
ever
coolest
fucking
fucking thing, dude. Like,
oh my God.
everything I've ever been a part of, dude, that was absolutely the most coolest. And I'm so glad. I mean, obviously, I'm not glad that it happened, but I'm glad that we were able to honor him like that.
Yeah, you're glad that this is the best case scenario for what did happen.
Yeah. I mean, all I can really say to you is I think about him every day. I love him, and I wouldn't be who I am if I had never met him. And by meeting him, like his mom, if you ever meet his mom, you'll know exactly the reason he is who he was. And she's like, I mean, she's my mom, dude. Like, I love her so much, and I gained that by meeting him. His whole family is Tristan, his dad. Like, I'm fortunate to have all them in my life, and I'm thankful for it.
The beauty of a nightmare, this reoccurring dream of the dark love that we share together. The beauty of a nightmare, the pain in your scream. You once lived without fear, but not anymore. Whoa, I'll drag a corpse to the lake tonight. This will be my final time to order and tell her goodbye. I'll drag a corpse to the lake tonight. This will be my final time to order and tell her goodbye. The beauty of a nightmare, this blood-soaked crime scene. You had my heart for so long, now hold yours in my hands. nightmare, the warmth of your blood. The life that we once shared is now over and done. I'll drag a corpse to the lake tonight. This will be my final time to hold her and tell her goodbye. I'll drag a corpse to the lake tonight. This will be my final time to hold her and tell her goodbye. I wanna sink into your beauty, much like you sank into the lake. Wanna lay in the warmth of your blood and stay there for days. I wanna sink into your beauty, much like you sank into the lake. Wanna lay in the warmth of your blood and stay there for days. I'll drag a corpse to the lake tonight. This will be my final time to hold her and tell her goodbye. I'll drag a corpse to the lake tonight. This will be my final time to hold her and tell her goodbye. Goodbye, my love. 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 Goodbye, my love.
Them boys sure did a